Hey everybody, welcome to my channel, Two Saw Acres. I don't do tech videos very often, but that's exactly what today's video is about, the DJI Mic 2 versus the Rode Wireless Go 2. All right, so real quick backstory. In December of 2024, my Rode Wireless Go 2 took a poop on me. I started researching everything. Fortunately, Rode replaced it for me, but in the midterm, I was probably out of a mic for a little over 3 weeks. So I started shopping around for a backup mic, and I looked into the DJI Mic 2, and it seemed phenomenal. All of the reviews, it was even better than the Rode Wireless Go Pro, I think that's what it's called. So I went ahead and grabbed one at Best Buy, brought it home, got it all set up, and I found a whole bunch of crap that I don't like about it that was not in all of these tech reviews. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I've got a list of the pros and cons from just a regular old, small YouTube channel, hillbilly user, right? And there's some pretty important stuff to me in here, and I'm betting it's going to be important to y'all too. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so let's start off by saying you really can't go wrong with either one of these. They're both fantastic microphones. Right now I have the Wireless Go 2, the Rode, hooked up to the camera. That's what I'll be talking on for the first half of the video. Then I'll swap them out as I'm talking about them. So since the Rode's hooked up, we'll set that aside and we will talk about the DJI and what I like about it and what I don't like about it. So for my pros, it is smaller. You look at the standard size, its overall footprint is a little bit smaller. That is handy. It takes up less space, especially if you're using just the transmitter instead of the transmitter with a lavalier mic. So that's handy. One of the huge selling points to me was the screen being forward facing, well, forward or backwards, in the front or the back, not the top. With the Rode, the display on the receiver is up here. So when you're looking at a tripod set up at 60 plus inches, your average person can't see the display. I would have to either tilt my camera over or pull the receiver off of the camera to see any sort of settings. So to me, that was one of the biggest selling points, and I love it. I'm not a huge fan of the touch screen, but we'll get to that. We'll finish all the pros, then I'll talk about the cons. The case, the carrying case is actually really friggin' nice. You can just dump all your parts in here and they just sit perfectly. You don't even need the big case it comes with, but if you want to drag your other stuff with it, you can. It's set up specifically for that. Got your wiring in there. This case sits in here. It all folds up nice and neat, and boom, just like so. All right, so this though, that is really handy, and this is an actual battery charging case. So there's a battery in the case that charges the batteries in the transmitter and the receiver. Another thing I really like is the clip setup on the transmitters. So not only does the clip have the magnet, so you can hook it to, whether it's your clothes or whatnot, and it will just stay there. And it is pretty stout. I haven't tried it yet because I use the lavalier mic, but I've seen a lot of folks use this and it seems to work really, really well. Another big issue for me, anyhow, I like my lavalier mics because I don't want one of these hanging off the front of my shirt somewhere, so I use the lavalier. Because there's no strain relief on these lavaliers where the jack is, it actually broke my lavalier mics, 2 of them. And these things are $100 a piece, the Rode lavaliers. So these DJIs, they actually have this little spot in here, all the way at the top, right in there, that's just for the wire. So you can put your wire in there, and it's a built-in strain relief. So when it's plugged into the jack, it works great. So that I really, really like. All right, so now on to the cons. Compared to at least the Rode Wireless Go 2, these were lasting me 6, 7, 8 hours. DJI is supposedly only good for 6 hours. Now, I haven't tested these thoroughly. I would imagine with an auto off function and not using it constantly, it would last at least that long, if not longer. So I can't really call that a con. It's just something I haven't truly verified yet. One of the biggest issues I have with this entire setup that I did not see on any other video was this doggone cold shoe. I'm going to switch over to a video I took earlier to cover that. This is a Sony ZV-E10 with a Sigma lens, but I have a small rig cage on it. This is my everyday shooting camera for my YouTube channel. This is the new DJI Mic 2. And since it doesn't have any sort of real clip on it, when you put it in the cold shoe, it just slides right through. There's literally nothing keeping it from just falling right through, which is so frustrating. And you can't put it in the regular cold shoe of the camera because there's just not enough space. This is definitely one of those things that I looked for and did not see when I was researching. The way I'm getting around it right now is I picked up a case of these, well, I've had this for a while, but a case of these washers, rubber washers. This right here, little rubber washer, and I stretch it around there, make sure it's somewhat flat, like that. Then it will actually stay in the cold shoe. And just got to be gentle with it. You don't want to just jam it in there. But there it is. Now it stays. It doesn't move at all. And yeah, that works for that. But it's not nearly as handy as having the clip on your Rode Wireless 2, Go 2. Another issue I ran into with my particular camera, the receiver 3.5 mil cable they give you, if you try to plug it in with this small rig cage on here, this thing is too big. It will not fit in there. It hits. So it just doesn't work. There's just no way around it. Both sides are the same size. It will not fit in there with this small rig cage. And even if it did fit in there, when you go to open your screen, flip it around, it's probably going to hit it. The Rode connector cable fits right in there, no problem. And I have been using it with this DJI receiver. And I can still open my screen, flip the screen. So it's almost like you got to buy $800 worth of mics in order to get one of them to work great. So now we can compare the DJI, even with my little modification. When I want to take it off here, it's kind of a pain in the butt. And if it's on, you're touching the touch screen the whole time because you can't grab onto it from the top and the bottom. If you grab it this way, you're hitting the power button. If you grab it from this way, you're hitting the touch screen. So one way or the other, you're probably messing something up. Whereas the Rode, now this is obviously a transmitter, not a receiver, but they're identical. There, it's set. And it works beautifully. I've had this set up for the last couple of years. It just plugs right in. It's all out of the way. You can grab it from the sides, from the front and the back. You're not hitting anything. That's the only button on there. Nothing else is going to change on you. All right, now on to the next issue I don't like about these is it's complex. So you got the button here, all of this extra crap. You never know what you're doing in it. You know how easy it is to accidentally hit a button or rotate the button or hit the touch screen and have something move, especially when this thing is on the camera. You can't grab it from here and here. If you grab it here and here, you're hitting the touch screen. If you grab it here and here, you got a button over here you could be hitting. So it's really difficult to maneuver this thing, installing, taking it off, whatever, without accidentally hitting something and changing a setting. And I'm not familiar enough with this, so that's one of the things I like about the Rode is it's almost impossible to screw up your settings once it's set. This thing, you know, you accidentally, and the button is very sensitive. It does not take much to get that thing to move. And like I said, it's already, you know, changing, and I don't even know what I changed because it's more complex. And it's touch screen and buttons everywhere. Now the going price, when I bought my Rode set a little over 2 years ago, it was $400 for the two wireless transmitters, the receiver, and 2 lavalier mics, and all the extra gizmos it comes with, you know, the rat tails and all that crap. These lavalier mics are usually close to, at least they were, close to $100 per mic. So that kind of does jack the price up. This one I just got, you know, 2 weeks ago, and it was $350, and it did not come with lavalier mics. They have a set for $400 that comes with the 2 lav mics, but apparently they're garbage. They're not quality lavalier mics like the Rode would be. Now I've heard somewhere, I watched a video that said you can now get a quality DJI lav mic, but I didn't want to take that chance since I already had good Rode lavalier mics. Now I have not tried an app with this, but you don't really need an app because it's so easy to navigate the menus on here. It is more complex, but it is easy to navigate the different menus. You can swipe back and forth and slide through everything. The Rode comes with a really nice, it doesn't come with it, you have to download it on your computer, but the Central app, I think is what it's called, and it is pretty handy. Super easy to set up. Once it's set up, it's done. All right, so when it comes to customer service, the Rode definitely wins there, at least in my experience, but I have never actually had to deal with DJI customer service. I would be shocked if I tried to get in touch with somebody and they were speaking good, clean English and they were easy to understand and they were happy to replace stuff, you know, and not sending you back through, say, Amazon or Best Buy or wherever you got it. But that's to be seen. And I think one last thing I'll point out is this little doohickey right here is actually too easy. If it's hooked onto something and you grab it the wrong way, this little slide cover just pops right off. It takes virtually no pressure at all to get that thing to move off, and I can see that getting lost in the future. See, I don't even know what the heck I just did, and it's telling me something. All right, gonna switch transmitters and receivers, and we'll be right back. Okay, so this is actually gonna be a great test for me too, because I've never heard the difference. I just got my Rodes back today, and I've never in the same video heard the difference in the sound quality. My experience though with the Rode has been phenomenal sound quality. I have zero complaints about it. As a matter of fact, I've gotten nothing but compliments on the channel about the good sound quality for the most part. All right, so we talked about the cold shoe of the DJI, and this one is so much handier. Let's take a look at the Osmo. I got a small rig cage on it as well, and it just slides right in. Super easy. It does the same thing on the cage for the Sony camera. Super, super handy. Everything's right where it needs to be. I love that, and the clip is just so friggin' handy. A lot of times I even put it in my pocket, you know, and it's no problem. It's fantastic. Sorry, not this guy, these guys. I can put this in a pocket, on my belt. It's all the same. They work fantastic. Now the setup on these guys is super easy. There's a couple buttons on here that you have to hit, and that's about it. You know, you can adjust a couple things from here. You can adjust your sound settings. It's super easy just to log into the app and have it, man, can't really see anything there. Oh, there we go. Super easy just to log into the app and have it, there literally just a couple little clicks there and boom, 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 you set it up. And then you don't have to worry about it. Generally speaking, if you bump a button, it's not gonna change anything on you. And yeah, they work great. Really, really work great. I mentioned before the lav mics, the Rode lavalier mics, the wired ones are absolutely amazing. That's virtually all I use. I route the cable through my sweater or through my t-shirt, put this guy on my back hip, on my belt, and it's a piece of cake. Now on to the customer service for these guys. 2 years ago, I had, like I said before, both of my lavalier mics broke right at the juncture, right at the strain relief, probably because of the way I was wearing it. I would have this on my belt, and then I would wrap the cord up under the clip to take up the slack. Well, after a year or so, both of my cords, my mics just started cutting out. So I got in touch with Rode, and apparently I didn't order my setup through an authorized Rode dealer. It was right off of Amazon. It was highly rated. So anyway, yeah, it turns out I bought my entire Rode setup for $400 from a non-authorized Rode dealer off Amazon. But they said, they're very nice. They said, you know what, look, go ahead and cut your wires and send us proof that you cut your wires. Send us your invoice, a proof of purchase, and we'll make a one-time exception and just swap them out for you. Because like I said, these things were $100 a piece. And I was blown away. I could not believe that they were just going to go ahead and swap these out for me. Rode typically has a 2-year manufacturer warranty. And literally less than a week prior to the 2-year purchase mark, I purchased them December 15th of 2022. It was December like 7th or 8th or something like that of 2024. So almost a month ago now. that's when this set stopped working. So I got in touch with them, and I tried all of the troubleshooting as well. I followed all of their websites. I checked everything on YouTube. I just could not get them to work. As a matter of fact, I couldn't even get the screen to turn on anymore. Same thing. I called them up. There was a person speaking plain English, and they did the same thing. They said, look, go ahead and send back the originals. We're going to make a one-time exception. Even though you didn't buy these through an authorized road dealer, we're going to make a one-time exception and swap them out for you. But now that they've all been swapped out, I cannot get any more warranty work on any of these. What I have is what I have. But still, that is mind-blowing customer service, and I am still amazed, and it's really hard to find that these days. We kind of already mentioned the battery life. I've never actually had an issue with these. Literally, I'll have it on my hip for probably 8-10 hours a day, and I usually will turn it off if I'm not using it. So battery life is probably comparable between the two. One of my biggest complaints, bar none, with this setup is this display facing up when it's on a camera. So if you have this guy sitting on your camera, and it's, say 6 feet off the ground, I'm 6 foot tall. I can't see the top of this without moving the camera. Just like I was talking about with the DJI, that's why I like it so much, because it's right here on the front or the back, facing you, or at least eye level with you, so that you can see the display. I really kind of just forgot about it over the last 2 years, because I don't usually have to look at it, but there has been a couple videos where if I'd have seen that not on or not working, I wouldn't have had to reshoot a couple videos because my sound wasn't working. Now this is the Wireless Go 2, not the Wireless Pro. So I think the Wireless Pro actually has this mag clip like the DJI does. I don't honestly remember off the top of my head. I'll look and throw something up on the screen so you can verify that. But the Wireless Go 2 does not have the magnetic clip to put this, like on a t-shirt with a magnet holding it there. But I can't really complain about that because I won't ever use it. I haven't used this one yet either, and I probably won't. All right, so I hope that helps. This is just the things that I look at, not the super techie stuff, just the average, Joe Blow doing YouTube videos. These are the things that caught my eye and that I'm struggling with, or figuring out ways to make it work. I know I'm not the only one. I just figured hopefully it would help somebody else out there that's looking into either of these. I personally don't really have a preference one way or the other. If you guys can tell a difference with the sound quality halfway through the video until now, please throw something in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. As far as which one am I going to use more often, I don't know right now. Probably the DJI, just because I really like that forward-facing display. I'll just be careful with it. Make sure I'm not changing settings when I'm putting it on and off the camera. But it's nice that it has its own charging port, so I only have to plug one thing in versus 2 or 3. That's something that I just now realized talking to you guys. But anyway, hey, if you got any other thoughts, questions, concerns, comments, please throw something in the comments. I get back to everybody. Thanks for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons, and we'll catch you on the next one.